All right, welcome to another episode of the After Hours podcast presented by Fatboy FadeAway Sports. I got Tyler McGurk up top with me, Brian Johnson down low. Boys, Tyler, I kind of like your name for this, the Off the Rails podcast. I think that's the kind of the name we need to go with that, presented by Fatboy FadeAway Sports. It sounds good, off the rails, because we do go off the rails on Monday.
We have no idea where it's going. It could be a big crash landing no one wants to see here. Yeah. Just great excitement.
Sunday, we're a little bit more organized. We kind of have our thoughts, what we kind of want to talk about during the week. Monday, we're just kind of reacting to the NFL. And I got to start right there with you. You kind of sent an offensive tweet, I thought, to maybe some NFL fans out there where you were saying that you said the NFL is trash about 25 minutes ago. And I think, but earlier in the day, you sent a poll about how what league is better or what league gets more followers.
It's more interesting.
More interest. And NFL won.
You got proved wrong.
NFL won in the vote thing there.
It's not over yet.
They're leading. And then you said NFL is trash. Me and you've talked about it before. I don't think the NFL is trash. I find it interesting in a lot of different ways, but I want you to explain that before we get into this right here.
It's just falling victim to its own, trying to please everybody. There's this new taunting rule is terrible. That's when I said the NFL is trash, when Rashad Penny got that catch, ran it to the 30-yard line, then they get a 15-yard penalty. 3 plays later, they got to punt it away. And it just seems like these calls are affecting the game, and this game is so physical, so emotional. Why are you affecting the game so much with one taunting call? It's not. I think
that's the reason the NFL
are hurting themselves.
That's what I'm saying. It's got to be
one call. It happens consistently. There's defensive holdings on 3rd and 23 where you're like, oh my God, how is there's holding every call, every game, every play.
I'm kind of busting your balls a little bit right now, but I know
that's fine.
I know what you mean though, because the NFL has a way to be. They're very rule oriented, so there's a lot of rules where you're like, what the heck? You're like, you know what I mean? They come up at these random times,
and the rules change throughout the year.
Yeah, you can't keep pace with them.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what's going. That's a penalty this week.
All right, so we got that garbage out of the way with that, but I need you to get that off. I need to understand what you meant by that, because we're doing an NFL podcast. So if you're saying NFL is trash, I had to know what you meant by it. So we have a lot to talk about this week in the NFL, though, and then this today. I mean, you talk about, do we need to have enough news stories that came out today? I mean, Brian, we got Henry out for the Titans. We got Von Miller traded to the Rams. And we got Winston out with an ACL injury. There's pretty much a lot of things going on here. Before we get into, what just happened in the week, I kind of want to touch on with the news that happened today. What's the bigger story, Titans, Miller, or Winston? I'm assuming Winston's not on the list, so let's take him out. What's the other two, Miller going to the Rams, or Henry out for the Titans?
I definitely have to go with Henry out, because Tannehill goes off on Henry. If he doesn't have that big running back, I just don't see Tannehill being successful with the Titans.
I think that's the right answer. I think Henry's the MVP candidate. I think this is a chance for those people that have started to believe in Tannehill a little bit more, for me to get a little just to kind of see what they believe in. Even though when we had P Shark on it, he was funny when he goes, "But if Rodgers is available next year, we'll take Rodgers." I thought that was kind of funny. So, but Tannehill, let's just put it this way. You did go out and get Julio Jones. You have A.J. Brown. You have, an average tight end at least, right? And some people, at the beginning of the year, some people said better.
Who's their tight end this year? I don't even know who it is.
I forget his name, but I remember people telling me.
Jonnu Smith got traded to left for the Patriots.
They got to have, my point is they have the two receivers. You have Tannehill you're paying money to. You're hoping that you're still moving the ball in some regard, right? Am I wrong in this? Are you wrong to think this if you're the offensive coordinator for the Titans?
I don't think they're gonna go ahead,
Tyler. No, go ahead, Tyler.
Go ahead. I don't want to talk right now.
I think they're gonna win the division, because I think even without Henry, they're a better team than the Colts.
It's just disappointing that he's out. He's just such a fun player to watch, and he got and I think it was last week when the Titans were playing against the Chiefs. I remember I seen the stats, and then I watched this show called Pro Football Talk in the morning, and they brought up like how many carries he got, and like there were a lot of them were unnecessary carries. That doesn't mean it resulted in this injury, but I mean it's tough. The running back position's tough. It's too bad that he's out. He's really fun to watch.
I posted something to Twitter earlier, and he had 303 carries 2 years ago, 378 the year before, which was 23 carries per game or 24 carries per game. And this year he's on pace for 27 carries per game. I'm just not surprised. You can't run the guy into the ground and just.
I guess we're becoming the Titans podcast here.
We really have.
But it just was a big story. I mean, he's obviously, to me, he might have been the MVP if the way they were starting to project. But
I disagree with you guys with that original question about what's the bigger story. Von Miller to the Rams is the biggest story.
I mean,
you have a Super Bowl MVP. The Rams were already a Super Bowl contender. I didn't consider the Titans a Super Bowl, like maybe on a fringe contender. The Rams were the front runner, and they pick up a Super Bowl MVP, a guy who's still dominating at 32 years of age, 33 years of age. And the Rams defense is going to be unreal.
Hasn't he been injured? How do you say dominating?
He hasn't been injured this year.
I thought he's been injured most of the time.
No, not this year. He was injured all last year.
But I don't agree with where you're saying he's dominating.
Miller?
I mean, I would disagree. We could disagree. That's fine.
Brian, are you talking about Von Miller, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying they're investing a lot into this year. If they don't win the Super Bowl, I mean, they don't have any draft picks, dude.
Don't the Rams do that every year, though?
I'm looking at their picks right now. I mean, every trade.
But I mean, they're really screwed now, dude.
They did trade a second and third. That was a decent amount for him. But if you think about it, Von Miller has first round potential, and he's only signed for this year. And the Rams are paying $9 million of the $9.7 million. So for Denver, it's not the worst trade in the world if you're going to get rid of him anyways next year. Like if you're not going to bring him back, right? For them, maybe it's not a first, but a second and third. That's not the worst. That's not the worst thing. Bad if we do that, right? We might do that. We might do that in Madden right there.
That's not our money.
And they're paying the $9 million. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting with the Rams. Remember, I listened back. I encourage you guys to do it. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to do a little recount of what we did for our podcast at the beginning of the season. So we're at mid-season here. I did have the Rams going to the Super Bowl, and this only makes me feel a little bit better. Let's just put it that way. You can't be. It's not as easy to double Aaron Darnold. So that's all.
Yeah, that's my point, though, is the Rams were already a Super Bowl contender, and they add – okay, Brian, what is Von Miller to you? Just an okay player?
He just hates them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't consider him an elite player anymore, in my opinion.
Okay, is he a great player?
I mean, I would consider him good, but I mean, I don't think what you're giving up is worth what you're getting. I don't know.
But the pair him with Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd, and I know they have another D tackle, bigger like guy who can rush the passer that's really good. I can't think of his name right now. But just to have that front four just takes a lot of pressure off Donald and Floyd and opens things up for Von Miller to be more effective than being on the Broncos, who had Bradley Chubb but was always hurt and I think was out for the year this year.
And players like Von Miller have like.
I mean, all it means is if you don't win the Super Bowl, this trade doesn't look good.
But isn't draft capital at some point overrated? Like, who cares? You play to win the game.
Okay, hold on. He's played in. Let's see, how many seasons has he played? He's played 10 seasons. How many sacks do you think?
I'm awake.
I don't know what that was. That was hilarious. That was good stuff. That was good. Brian, all right. So he's played 10 years. I'm curious. How many sacks do you think Miller has?
105.
From here to the end of the season.
No, in his career, he's played 10 years. How many sacks do you think he has?
I'm not. I don't want to go back based on that.
No. I'm just
saying-
curious. No. I'm not trying to base it on any. I'm not even making an argument. I'm just curious how many you think he has.
Fuck.
Brian, you're
I
pretty
just
close,
remember. I remember seeing it on ESPN, but
All right.
I
He's
forget.
got Brian, you're not answering the question. He's got 110 career sacks for his career. So my point being is if he's getting 110 sacks, I would probably think he would end up with 150 for his career. So he's probably got 40 sacks left in him, is my point.
But like Brian
you're
pointed out, it
assuming.
only matters about this year.
You're assuming.
Well, the Rams, I feel pretty good about it. Tyler, are you all right over there?
Oh man, my nose is burning.
That was on fire. Well, I don't even know where to go with that after that. That is definitely the ideal of going off the rails there. All right, so that was a couple of those storylines from this week. Obviously, Winston got hurt as well. All right, let's jump to this week that just happened. So Monday night here, the Chiefs, something's not right with them. They're just not. They win 20-17 tonight. End up pulling the game out against the Giants. Offensively, though, I mean, Mahomes not even 250 yards passing, one touchdown, right? I mean, I don't know. No, maybe two actually. It just doesn't feel.
Only one.
Yeah, just one because Gore ran in the other. I don't know. They definitely don't look the same. They're not a machine. Let's put it that way.
I'm not impressed. Something with Mahomes. Maybe he was reliant on those RPOs and just breaking the pocket and athleticism, where I can't see him sitting back and making reads and picking a defense apart. Like it's just, I think it's a flaw in his game, and I think he's been figured out a little bit with all the jet sweeps and like all that stuff. He's still a great player because how good, like athletic he is and what throws he can make with that crazy arm and like off balance. But I think there's a weakness in his game. Go ahead.
I agree with Tyler. I mean, he has.
It's a Christmas miracle, baby.
He has an issue making long drives down the field that makes him seem uncomfortable. He wants the big explosive plays. He just yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, you're right. They were talking. I heard. Sorry, Brian, I cut you off. Chris Sims, he was on that Pro Football Talk thing I listened to, and he was saying that he feels that he's not really staying in the pocket like he usually does, and that kind of made a little bit more sense when I was watching the game tonight, because there were a few times where he kind of like flushed out early or he backed up farther than he needed to, and he is right. Like when I was listening to him, he doesn't seem. Doesn't seem normal in the pocket right now. He doesn't feel comfortable right now with something, and it shows. He's not even throwing for 300 yards. He was throwing for like 350, like it was nothing. A couple years, right? I mean, he was throwing like it was nothing. Kelsey, something was wrong with him too. Fumble.
Yeah,
he didn't look.
I wouldn't be surprised if something's wrong with Kelsey.
He just got bowled over by a linebacker, and it seemed like, I don't know. I've never seen somebody do that to Kelsey before.
He didn't look good. That part we know for sure. He did that fumble. That was a bad fumble too. That wasn't even like that hard of a hit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to hold on to that one.
Yeah, like the last 5 years, Kelsey was just unstoppable. Every time it was like, oh, Kelsey would find a way to do something on third and 8 or first, or just make a big play. Now he's on my fantasy team this year. Not that anyone cares, but I watch him a lot. Just like, and it seems like he doesn't even try getting off the line a lot of times. He just sort of jogs out there and looks for a little soft spot, like 5 yards down the field, and that's all he does.
He might be hurt, like you said.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
All right, let's talk about a couple. Go ahead, Brian.
Do you think Kelsey's too much of a finesse player to play tight end?
No.
I mean, he's proven he can do it in previous years.
Because
maybe at this point in his career, he's lost a step or two.
Kittle gets hurt just as much. Johnson.
Yeah, but Kittle is a different tight end than Kelsey. Kittle is like the best blocking tight end in the NFL.
That is true, but he's never played.
No, you're right. I'd rather have a guy on the field. Like they always say, the best ability.
How long is he out? Is he out much longer?
No, he's supposed to come back next week.
That'll be big.
Yeah.
Um,
But look at that 2019 game against the Saints when we played against them. I mean, he was getting grabbed and pulled, and he was just pulling everybody everywhere. I don't think Kelsey can do that.
yeah, we know you love George. We know it. You love George.
I mean,
You love yourself some Georgie boy.
Kelsey said the greatest seasons as a tight end.
I think you guys are giving the Chiefs a pass.
No, they suck right now. It just kind of shows how much more the Giants suck. I mean, like the Chiefs did not play good tonight. They did not. There was no way that they deserved this win. I mean, they're 4-4. They're and tied for last with the Broncos. The Raiders are still 5-2. Chargers 4-3 after they lose to Adam and the Patriots. Adam was at the game apparently wearing his Mac Jones jersey.
Hopefully someone peed on him.
We got to have him on here in a little bit to talk Mac Jones because I mean, look at the Patriots alone. The Patriots are 4-4, so they got the same record as the Chiefs. Who would have thought Mac Jones and Patrick Mahomes would have the same record right now? 8 games into the season right now, or for them, 8 games into the season anyway. It's not us. I guarantee that's not what we thought, even though Brian did have them going to the playoffs and he still does. Remember I said earlier on the podcast, I said the Jets, I think could maybe sneakily beat the Bengals. And Brian said, I don't think so. I think the Bengals win by 35. So Brian, how do you feel about Michael White pulling it out for the Jets and your Bengals? Kind of going back a little step back to reality a little bit.
Well, they play the Browns this week, so that's going to be a big game for the Bengals.
And then they play the Raiders in a couple weeks after that. And then they got the Chargers, and then they got the Niners. So they got some big games, and the Bengals got a tough 4-week schedule there. They got this is the Bengals next week schedule. This will tell you where they're at. They got the Browns, Raiders, Steelers, Chargers. I guess if you consider the Niners in there, the Niners. So that's where you got
back to the Bengals game against the Jets. Another reason I said the NFL is trash was the crazy hit they call the roughing or unnecessary roughness to end the game on the Bengals.
Oh yeah, that was horrible. Yeah, see that's BS. Yeah,
and that's the shit that pisses me off about that. Yeah, the NBA has like their superstars, but that going into the game and it's consistent for the most part, which sucks. It shouldn't happen, but it does. These calls are crazy. Like, how are you going to call that with 1 minute, a minute and a half left in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, no, they're right. That's pretty pathetic. It was, and it's a game changer.
Yeah, it gave them no opportunity.
Yeah, that's bad. The Saints. They beat Tom. Tom, he has a little trouble with the Saints. I guarantee this. That is the team in the NFC he does not want to see in the playoffs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean they won't beat them in the wild.
They're not going to make the playoffs with Simeon. Come on.
Well,
get out of here with that one.
They can pick up Cam Newton. Who knows? There's 7 teams that make the playoffs, Brian. You're making it seem like there's no chance. The Niners still have a chance. Yeah, I mean, don't they have the same record as the Niners? They're 5-2. They have a chance to make the playoffs. I don't care if they have Simeon or not. They have a chance to make the playoffs. So I'm just saying
they're going to start losing games. I'm telling you right now.
Tom doesn't want any part of the Saints, Tyler. That's the team he struggles with.
I would if they played the Saints at home, I'd agree. But on the road, I'd agree. If they
even on the road, he struggles a little with them. They lost him last year.
No, I'm saying at home, he doesn't struggle.
He lost him last year at home.
Playoff doesn't matter.
On Sunday night, they got crushed like 37.
That was at home. No, that was a road game.
No, it was at home.
That was a home game.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But the game that mattered was the divisional round in New Orleans, and the Bucks took that one. I don't believe in the Saints at all.
I kind of like the way you said "took" there. I don't know. I like that. You said that very good. I like that. All right. Anyways, I just think the Bucks. I think the Saints. If Tom was being honest, he would say that's the team that his stats show that he struggles the most against. Like the AFC, right? You would say the Dolphins always gave him a little trouble once in a while. Not every year, but just that. You'd say that was the team that kind of consistently could figure him out once in a while. That's kind of what it seems like early on with the Saints. They get 2 chances at him a year. the 4 times they've seen him, they've done the best. Doesn't mean he's amazing. He's still great, Tom. And what are the Bucks? The 6. They only have 1 loss, right? So, and they're doing perfectly fine. Any other games stand out to you guys? Tennessee won in overtime, but we talked about the Titans enough. Steelers,
Chargers.
that was the game. Steelers and Browns.
It was a snooze fest.
I said it would be, but I said the Steelers would persevere, and they are my Super Bowl pick, 4-3, back in it with the Bills.
The Browns are overrated. Baker Mayfield is not very good.
Baker was pissed. Why does Baker get so mad at the media?
Darren said that. You'd say that he said the Browns would regress this year.
And they have severely regressed. And the Steelers have regressed, and that's what's happening. I just feel like the Steelers are just that team that they're just more mentally tough than the Browns still. So that's the biggest thing over them. And the Browns have no Hunt and Chubb, 100%.
Yeah, the Browns are hurt.
Which helps. I'm not gonna lie, that doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt their chances at all. Are the Lions one of the worst teams now that are they gonna win a game?
Yeah, I think they'll get one.
Will they be the first team to go 1-7? 0-17? Is that they'll be 0-16 and 10 years, like 15 years later, they're 0-17. We're the first team that has ever done it. Because don't you think that's harder to do almost? Lose, like have 2 defeated seasons? It seems like that would be harder to do almost in some ways.
What did the Lions get for Jared Goff when they traded for him?
They got a 1st-round pick this year. I just was looking at it. I think a 3rd-round pick.
So they'll have 2 1st-round picks this year, right?
I don't know if it was this year or if it was last year's 1st-round pick. I'd have to relook at it again. Brian, what do you think of Dallas beating Minnesota? I had the Vikings going to the playoffs as like a 7 seed. So not any high seed, just sneaking in. More because I believed in Cook. I mean, you can't lose to the Cowboys with Connor Kupp as your quarterback. I mean, credit to them. Connor Rush. Sorry, I was thinking of the Rams. Cooper Rush there. You can't be losing to that guy if you're a serious playoff contender.
I just think it shows how bad Cousins is as a quarterback. I mean,
hold on. Cousins is not a bad quarterback. He's not a great quarterback, but his last 17 games, he's at 38 touchdowns,
he'd
6
even throw
interceptions.
for 200 yards. He'd even throw for 200 yards. He's
I mean,
terrible.
some people have off games, Brian.
I feel like right here, you're making excuses for the Minnesota Vikings, but
no, Brian's right. Cousins has a trouble.
If Jimmy Garoppolo did it, then you'd be on him like no business.
No, Brian, I gotta stand up with you. I mean, there were so many chances he failed in the red zone. Like he was not good in that game in the red zone. He was not as productive as he should have been. I know.
I just said facts. Just what he did the last 17 games. I didn't say I like him. I don't like him.
You love him.
I don't want him as my quarterback. I was glad when the Niners didn't take him.
You love him.
For crying out loud. That's not what I said. I just pointed out what he did.
You love him.
And he's not a bad quarterback. He's not the guy I want as my quarterback.
You're defending him, and
I think it proves how loaded the Cowboys are.
All right, I got one more game that I kind of wanted to touch on before we take a break.
When are we getting into the Niners?
All right, well, I don't think the Niners, we need to talk about the Niners. I think we can move on from them. No, I'm just kidding. That was the last game we had. I say let's take a quick little break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the Niners, and then we'll talk about a preview for next week. So, all right, we'll be right back. Brian, Niners 33-22 over the Bears. Fields, maybe the play of his career so far, I'd say. You guys will be on video highlights forever for this game. We'll get into the Bears and Fields in a second here, but let's start with your beloved Niners, Garoppolo, who you are, let's just say, off and on once in a while here. A little hot, a little cold with Garoppolo. Go. Thoughts on the game?
I feel like something happened at halftime, and something triggered the team, and they just started going, and they played like a team, and I like the way they looked in the second half. I know it's against the Bears, but they have Kittle coming back, C.J. Wilson, like Dre Greenlaw. Like, they have players coming back, and I'm just saying that I think they have a chance to make a run at this. And
he's hopping on.
You got Cole McCoy, and we're gonna whoop your ass 45-10 next week.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
What are we talking about here, Brian? They beat the Bears. They had trouble doing it.
You're a crappy fan, Tyler. I'm tired of
We beat the
negativity.
Eagles, the Lions, and the
not going to hear it
Bears.
anymore. I'm not going to hear about it anymore.
We beat the Eagles. We beat Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff, and Justin Fields. We feel good about that?
Brian, Tyler, is there anything you
We
felt
wanted
good about?
Shanahan fired
we're
last
getting
week, you
healthy
said.
at the
You
right
wanted
time.
Shanahan fired. Don't change your underwear like every week and your opinion every week.
I'm just getting tired of your negative opinion.
It's not a
bringing me
negative
down.
opinion. It's a truthful, honest opinion
I'm
towards this team.
I'm a different fan than you are. I'm just being
You
honest.
are. You
We're
change your
getting
opinion
healthy.
every week.
We're getting healthy at the right time. And the Cardinals are going down in a flame of fire.
And Murray's out, so you might have a chance actually in that regard. And is that what you reported, Brian? Murray's out for the game.
Murray's out 3 weeks. How are you guys going to survive after that?
That does give you a better chance to go 4-4. I definitely cannot disagree with that part at all. Though I want to ask you guys both this question.
And then we play the Rams at Jacksonville. Then we play the Vikings at Seattle, and then the Bengals. So we have a chance to make a run here.
Brian, the offense was definitely better. They threw for 322 yards.
They were playing the Bears.
They ran
the Bears defense.
They ran for 137 yards. They got Samuel involved. They actually got
Samuel involved. He's been involved all year.
They got Brandon Ayuk, 4 catches. Are you kidding me? That's
spectacular. Spectacular. He's a Hall of Famer now.
Even Sanu got 3 catches. And then I saw Jim.
I think this is what we're going to do right now. I'll take Tyler. I'll trade him to the Raiders and give me any other fan. Give me any other fan. I'll take any other fan. But
Tyler, you don't like anything from the game. You obviously want them to win. Nothing. They have to win this one.
No, I like the O-line. The O-line blocked very well, but Khalil Mack was out, so that seems like.
Let's be realistic. You're not taking them serious until they play.
They beat the
Rams
Lions,
on Monday night.
the Eagles, and the Bears.
Okay, so if they beat the Cardinals and Rams, the next 2 games are on a winning streak.
Without Kyler Murray, if they beat the Rams, that would be impressive.
Okay, so if they win their next 3 games, right? Bears, Cardinals, Rams, you'll start to kind of hop on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
So
if they lose 42-3, Brian,
this time
to the Rams.
This night,
to be honest, I'm trading you to the Rams for a better.
I don't care what you're doing. We're talking about the Niners, not what you're doing. What the Niners are doing.
This night.
So what's the Niners process? You want them to keep playing Jimmy G, or do you want Trey? Do you want Shanahan fired? I want answers. I don't want play it week by week, however they do that week.
Do you want Shanahan
I'm
fired?
being honest. It is week.
No, you're not being honest. You're changing your.
He's week by week. He's saying that's what he is. He's Jerry Jones. He'll fire you 1 week and hire you, or George Steinbrenner. He'll hire you 1 week and fire you the next.
But he didn't suck this week. That's what I'm saying.
Jimmy G played great this week. I said
he didn't suck this week.
I said if we want to win, we should play Jimmy G.
You expect Joe Montana,
no, I don't.
Jerry Rice, Ricky Waters. I mean, come on, man. I mean, we have a chance to make a run at the playoffs. Just be faithful.
We have a chance. We're playing. We're breathing.
If you're not gonna be faithful, go vote for another fucking team.
Oh, I like your passion, Pete. I like your passion. But
I like it. I like it too.
What is there to be faithful about? We beat the Eagles, the Lions, and the Bears.
Okay, but Tyler, to be honest to Brian on this one, I have to defend Brian a little bit, just so you have.
I know you always defend Brian. I understand. I get it.
Why what is it? I get your point on why you're not impressed. You mentioned the 3 wins and those quarterbacks
multiple times.
As you mentioned, are not very good. Brian, on the other hand, seems to be trying to make the argument that now all of a sudden this week he's seeing a little bit better because Garoppolo 4 yards. So let's give the hypothetical here. What did we see is there anything to feel better, or is it just a crappy win? They did score 33 points.
No, they played good against a bad team. I think we should beat bad teams.
All right. So the Bears we've established are a bad team. So Arizona, you feel like that's an automatic win then? Is that word?
Not automatic, but they can beat the Arizona. I would be whatever.
Now, Brian, if they lose this
Brian,
game,
last week you wanted the coach fired and the quarterback on the bench, never to see it, to be cut, to be released for nothing, just cut. Now all of a sudden, we can make a big run.
Brian is like a George Steinbrenner, literally.
Who's the better fan here? The guy who's consistent, who's like, okay, let's be realistic, or the guy who's like, we won a game. We're the best. We're making the playoffs.
I hate fans like you because you're just negative. It's never good enough. I'm gonna ship you off to the Raiders where you belong.
No, we don't want them. I'm already negative. I'm negative enough for the Raiders.
my football fandom is in question. Just the whole league. If there's no fantasy football, I probably wouldn't. Or podcast. Both of those went away. I probably wouldn't even watch the NFL.
You got to start betting a little bit more. That's probably not.
I could see if we beat the Rams on Monday night, he'll come on and he'll be like, "Well, the cornerbacks didn't play good." And the defensive line wasn't getting enough pressure.
No, I would say the same thing I said every week.
That's the way Tyler is.
Isn't good enough.
You're the half glass empty guy.
I'm consistent. They're not a good
half
team.
Glass
you're the guy who changes his opinion week by week.
Get out of here,
gentlemen. All I can say is this:
change your opinion again next week when they lose to the
podcast is,
I
look forward to the Monday night game a little bit more and I hope, just for our sake, the Niners do win next week. And then if the Rams do win, Brian, you will have a lot of leverage on your hand.
They want you to have leverage.
You will have a lot of leverage.
You need it. You need it.
If the Cardinals lose this week,
need leverage.
If the Cardinals lose this week, Tyler gets the leverage back. So that's where I would say that you're at. I would say we're
consistency wins.
But I don't understand your consistent take other than you don't think the Niners are not good. But you did say at the beginning of the year they would be an NFC Championship team.
And then I watched them play against good teams, and they suck.
So not consistent with the.
That is consistent. I haven't changed since then.
One good team.
What about
they're starting to get healthy. They're getting players back, and I think they're talented enough to go to the playoffs. That's my opinion.
I think if they get more receivers involved every time I watched them, I was like, okay, yeah, it's like the Curry thing I was talking to Tyler back. They only go to Deebo Samuel. It's nice that they actually got some other guys involved. That's like
how did they get Deebo Samuel had 190 yards?
Yeah, but at least Ayuk got 4 catches. Usually has none.
Ooh, for 40 yards, great. That's
I know, but my point. I guess my point is
it's
maybe next
clearly
year.
obvious.
I'm shipping them to the Raiders. He's your problem, Darren.
I'm not a fan of anybody. I say it out.
We should give him. Well, let's give him.
You're going to the Raiders.
We'll give him the Jaguars. We'll give him the Jaguars. All right, let's wrap it up with the week ahead here. I'm interested to see what goes forward with that. That is an interesting debate going forward. All right, next week, looking at next week's schedule. We already talked about the Niners and Cardinals enough. We've already know what that game's about. What do you guys think about some of the other games in week 9? Anything that you know ahead of time? We have the Raiders at Giants. Should be probably not an easy game for the Raiders, but one I would expect them to win based on their record over the Giants. 5-2, right? That's one that they should win. We'll see. To me, the biggest game in the early morning is definitely Cleveland at Cincinnati. Bengals just in terms of the standings and like going forward, like Cleveland 4-4, Bengals 5-3. Like if Cleveland wins, now you have like the shift, and if the Steelers win on Monday night, you have 3 teams at 5-4 in the NFC North, and the Monday nights. And as we know, based on the way Tyler feels about the Bears, the Steelers should win on Monday night. So you have 3 teams at 5-4.
Packers play the Chiefs.
The Packers play the Chiefs at 1:25 Sunday. That's definitely. I mean, that's the game where That is an interesting game. You're right. Like if I was betting that game, I would probably say like, and let's say the Chiefs right now are 1-point favorites. I would probably,
That's gonna change.
yeah, I probably would lean towards the Packers on that one, I guess, just to win that one. But I don't know. That's a
And
tough
then-
one. I guess that all depends on if Adams is back for sure.
And then the Titans play the Rams on Sunday night, but
That's a great game.
without him.
No, that's a good game for sure. Even if Henry's not in it, that's still a good game. The problem is I feel like the Rams are gonna like that Henry blow to a team sometimes that can make a difference with like your kind of energy there at the beginning. We'll see. Tannehill's got a chance to prove some doubters wrong for sure. I don't know what they're gonna do at running back. I saw they signed Adrian Peterson to the practice squad. The Chargers,
I'm definitely gonna be a Titans fan.
I'm kind of interested with Tyler's Chargers because I listened back to that podcast and he had some good points on the Chargers, but they've kind of fallen back to 4-3 now. Tyler, you got to feel like you got to win this week against the Eagles. 5-3, that would be big if you go to 5. You can't lose to the Eagles and go 4.
Yeah, the Eagles have some weird stats that scare me. They're like have the worst field position in the NFL, and Herbert hasn't looked good these last 2 games, which is not good because he's the whole reason I picked them with the weapons, obviously. But he's the guy who is the shot caller. And
How much did you watch of that Chargers game?
I watched a lot of it.
I'm curious.
good.
What do you think of what Bill? I was watching a little bit of it too. It seemed like Belichick was doing a good job of taking away. Like he always does a good job of like double teaming the right guys on the right plays. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it always makes the quarterback go away from that first reaction. If they're not good enough at reading that, they get thrown off. And it seems like that's what happens with like Herbert in that game a little bit to me.
I mean, there were some drops by Keenan Allen, which are uncharacteristic. But yeah, Belichick did a great. He knows. I feel like he takes away that second receiver with his best corner, just sticks him on him, and like we're taking that away, and then he doubles that best like receiver or second best receiver, or no, he doubles the second best receiver and then puts his. And it just.
And he has the Chargers numbers. It feels like. Going back to the playoff game, you know what I mean? Even regular season, right? He's had the Chargers number, especially in LA or even in San Diego. So that
he has everyone's number though. If you want to go back,
well, I just mean like it feels like on like a regular season they're beating them like they don't see about often. So the Chargers, they definitely can't lose that game at Philadelphia.
But yeah, Herbert just hasn't looked as good the last 2 weeks, and maybe he's regressing to his mean.
And I see our guy Savage just kind of falling down more and more on Jalen Hurts there. So we'll see. He's not loving Jalen there. So that's a big game. Kind of an interesting game for me. We kind of established that Minnesota is not that great, but like, see, this is where like the NFL is interesting to me. If when I watch it week to week, is like I kind of look at it. Seem like NFL, Minnesota's going to be the underdog at Baltimore, but I feel like Minnesota could win that game coming off a loss. I know that sounds weird. I don't know. I know Baltimore's coming off a bye, but it just feels like that's a game that Minnesota could win. I don't know. Those are the type of games to me in the NFL that makes it kind of an interesting league. Let's put it this way. And then you have Denver at Dallas. Like you would never think that would happen, right? You would never think Denver would win, and they won't. No, no. But what do you think of that Minnesota? To me, I still kind of believe in them because I just love Cook though the way he runs. To me, he's my favorite running back in the league.
They don't have a chance in that game.
Well, you also said the Jets didn't have a chance, and they won. So
but Kirk Cousins he's terrible. He's not going to do anything.
Oh, come on. That's a good. I have to still say one. Tyler, you got any game you like?
The Raiders.
That's it.
Yeah, I have to hop on that bandwagon because Brian kicked me off the Niner bandwagon.
I don't know if we want you on that one. We'll put you on the Jaguars. They play the Bills, so hopefully they.
Well, I'll take that defeat with I used to be a Bills fan, but Thurman Thomas was ready to rock. So
there you go. Hop on the Bills bandwagon. All right. Well, that's all I got for the week this week for NFL. The Thursday night game, another snooze fest. Jets at Colts. Monday night next week. Chicago at Pittsburgh. We might have to change our Monday night game and do them on Sunday nights here in a few weeks based on my schedule. We'll have to talk about that later. But anyways, Brian, next week should be a good Sunday night game. That's when we should do it. Tennessee at LA. That should be the game we do it Sunday night. Gentlemen,
Brian, I love you.
I hope the Niners win. Brian, I've never rooted for the Niners more just so Tyler can be pissed off at both of us. That's all right. Ready?
You're Tyler. You're officially a Raiders fan.
Shut up with that. I don't want him on the
Ryan,
radio. How many times have I said that?
Ryan, your opinion officially means nothing to me because it changes every day. It changes more often than you change your underwear.
All right.
You wanted the coach fired, the QB cut. I don't want to hear from you.
You're on the Raiders. Get to the Raiders.
Fire the coach, cut the QB.
I cannot wait to play the audio recordings from the middle of our mid-season review. There is some good stuff that McGurk said in there that is that you will enjoy, Brian. That it was not always right, so you will like that the most. All right, man. I'll talk to you later. See ya.